You want to know what makes a Marine a Marine? It's not just the uniform or the rifle, it's how we think. Today, we're getting inside that mindset by breaking down the one book that defines it all, Marine Corps Doctrinal Publication 1, Warfighting.
Yeah, that quote from Sir William Slim, it pretty much nails it, right? Before we dive into the doctrine, just get this in your head. Warfighting is not some complicated set of rules to memorize. It's about building a mindset that is aggressive, intelligent, and always looking for an opportunity. That's the spirit of everything we're about to cover.
All right, so what's the big deal with MCDP 1? Why is this little book required reading for literally every Marine? Well, because it's not a field manual for a piece of gear. It's something way, way deeper. It's the operating system for how we fight.
And look, the book tells you right on the tin, this is a way of thinking. That's not just some buzzword, that's the whole point. This is the official foundation for how we conduct ourselves in combat. And this isn't just for officers or grunts. It applies to every single one of us, from the newest private to the commandant. It's the intellectual bedrock of the entire Marine Corps.
Okay, so to really get this philosophy, first we gotta understand the world it was built for. And that world is war. And let me tell you, war has its own set of brutal, unchanging ground rules. You've probably heard of this guy, Clausewitz. He had this famous line that basically says in war, even the easy stuff is hard. And that natural resistance, that force that pushes back against everything you try to do, well, we have a name for it. We call it friction. The best way to think about it is Murphy's Law, but with life or death consequences. It's your comms going down right when you need to call for fire. It's the drone feed glitching out just as you spot the enemy. And it's not just physical stuff, it's mental too. It's that little bit of hesitation in your gut before you cross a danger area. The point is, you can't get rid of friction, but you sure as hell can learn to operate in it better than the enemy does. And then there's uncertainty, the famous fog of war. Here's the truth. You're never going to have all the info. Ever. That intelligence report you got 10 minutes ago, it's probably already out of date. You have to make decisions and you have to act without knowing everything. Waiting for a perfect picture means you're waiting to lose. And that brings us to disorder. Look, stuff is going to go wrong. Plans will absolutely fall apart the second they meet reality. That's a guarantee. But here's the big twist. The thing that makes our philosophy different, we don't fear this stuff. Friction, uncertainty, disorder, we expect them. We train in them. And ultimately, we use that chaos as a weapon against an enemy who can't handle it. So, you're faced with all this chaos. What do? Well, historically, there have been two basic ways to fight, two totally different approaches. And Winston Churchill, he just laid it out perfectly. It's a choice, right? You can fight harder or you can fight smarter. So let's put these side by side. Attrition warfare, that's like two heavyweights just standing in the middle of the ring, trading haymakers until one of them can't stand up anymore. It's all about grinding the enemy down. Now, maneuver warfare, that's what we do. It's different. It's not about trading punches. It's like a skilled boxer using footwork, creating an opening and landing a knockout blow to the Kemple. You're not trying to beat them up. You're trying to shut their whole system down so they can't even fight back. So this sounds great, right? Fighting smart. But how do we actually do it? How do we put maneuver warfare into practice? Well, it's a way of thinking that follows a pretty clear path. It all builds on itself. See, first you have to get inside the enemy's head, understand how they think. That's orient on the enemy. Then you start looking for their surfaces and gaps. A surface is their strength, a concrete bunker, a machine gun nest. You avoid those. A gap is a weakness, a blind spot in their security, an inexperienced commander. That's what you hunt for. Once you find that key gap, that's where you put your main effort. You focus all your power on that one decisive point. And then you hit them, hard and fast. You move at a speed, a tempo that they just can't keep up with. Okay, so we've got this high-level strategy, but none of it, and I mean none of it, works without the most important piece of the puzzle on the battlefield. And that piece is you. So where do you fit into this? See, maneuver warfare is fast. It's way too fast for some general in a command tent to be making every little decision. It needs smart, aggressive leaders on the ground making calls in the heat of the moment. It relies on people at every level, especially the lowest levels. And that's where this idea of commander's intent is so crucial. A good leader doesn't just tell you what to do, like take that hill. They tell you why you're doing it. Take that hill so that the enemy can't escape down this road.
The why is everything. Because when the plan inevitably goes sideways and you can't take the hill, you don't have to stop and wait for new orders. You already know the goal. You know the why. So you adapt, you overcome, and you find a new way to make it happen.
And this right here, this quote, is basically tattooed on the soul of the Marine Corps. This isn't just a nice idea. It's a direct command. You are expected to act. You are required to take the initiative when you see an opportunity or when the situation changes. That's the trust the Corps puts in every single Marine. So, let's pull all these threads together. This isn't just a collection of cool-sounding tactics. It's a whole philosophy, a way of looking at conflict. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is. Maneuver warfare is a state of mind. It's about being bold, being smart, and being a ruthless opportunist, all aimed at one thing: completely breaking the enemy, morally and physically, so they can no longer put up a fight.
This little book, MCDP 1, this is our playbook for fighting smart. It's that intellectual advantage that lets us punch way above our weight. It's what makes us able to win decisively with fewer casualties even when we're outnumbered. This is the core of what makes a Marine so dangerous.
And that brings everything back to the most important question. War is always a contest of wills. The other guy wants to win just as bad as you do. MCDP 1 gives you the tools to think your way to victory. And it leaves you with one final question to answer, a question you'll have to answer for the rest of your career. How are you going to break their will?